Hey, Taebyn, you remember that AD episode from a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, with even with all that drinking, I felt freaking great the next day. No hangover, nothing. And you know why?
I mean, I have no idea what those things are, but I do want to know why.
Well, because I took Broad electrolyte vitamins. They're like super Gatorade in a vitamin. Anyway, I felt so great the next day that I emailed them and I said to them, "Hey man, great product." And you know what? The CEO emails me back to say, "Thanks.
Oh, nice.
Love to hear from fans. What are you guys up to?" And bam, just
Bam!
like that, Broad electrolyte vitamins becomes a supporter of this show. I mean,
Wow.
I know
That's
who
pretty
likes to
great.
be
Thank you, Broad.
Thank you, bro. I mean, who likes being hungover or dehydrated? So guess what? We've got a special deal for all our listeners. Go to Broad Electrolyte Vitamins website at broad.co. That's BRODE.co. There's no M. And use the code BFFT at checkout to get 25% off your order with no limit to your order size. The more you order, the more you save. And on top of that, Broad will donate 25% of the proceeds from every order using the code BFFT back to the show to help support its production. So it's a win-win-win for everyone.
That's awesome.
So that's Broad, BRODE.co.
It really is. I mean, Broad gets stuff. We get things. You Furs get things. It's kind of great.
And remember, that's BRODE.co. and code BFFT at checkout. Hangovers are the worst, and this stuff is the best. So go to broad.co and use code BFFT. I wanted to let everybody know before we get started that someone said I should brighten up my garden, so I planted some bulbs.
Oh.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn and Injured Nerves audio production. Greetings, salutations, Halay, and Moobarkfluff to all the creatures in the Podiverse, and welcome to our little corner of the interwebs. I am Barely Normal, and with me, sitting in for Taebyn, is Misha B. Barkin. How the fluff are you, Misha?
Hey-o, Barely. I've been good, and while I may not be Taebyn, I am a pup, so bark bark.
So the last time you were on the show was our astonishingly drunk episode back in March. It's so good to have you back on. And what have you been up to since that time? And were you astonishingly drunk with the rest of us during that recording?
I was very astonishingly drunk. I think we got done recording at like 3 p.m. and I went to bed. I walked out, sat in the middle of the hallway, hugged my dog, and then just got up and went to bed.
Oh, there you go.
Other than that, though, I've been good.
Very cool. Very cool. What else is going on? Anything special in your life?
Just mostly taking it day by day. Just making content. I started TikTok in December.
Oh,
That's been going really well. That's been actually doing better than YouTube, and I don't know how to feel about that.
oh, we have not embraced TikTok yet, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we ever will. But
If I remember correctly, the algorithm really doesn't do well with pre-recorded things. It won't promote them, so that would hurt.
Yeah.
Other news, I got Misha 2.0, the
Nice.
second iteration of my suit made by Dragon Girl Studios. That got done. I posted a unboxing on my channel, actually.
I did see that. It's very cute.
Hey.
Yeah. And what was Misha 1.0 falling apart?
Yeah. I think I got him. Yeah. I got him back in I think it was 2018 or 2019. Obviously it was a really good fursuit. It was a very cheap fursuit.
Uh-huh.
And I got what I paid for. So it did not last the test of time. And towards the very beginning, I didn't know how to take care of it. So it just started going kaput. The jaw is kind of falling off.
Okay.
And so I ended up just saying, okay.
Misha after an accident. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, wow. Okay. And anything else? Is that it?
I just I started playing drums again. That's kind of unrelated, but
again.
Yeah.
So you've played them before then?
Kind of. I'm trying to learn how, and then I I kind of got burnt out on music for a while there, but I'm trying to get that back. And drums has been a really good segue into that because it's a full body workout. It's a lot of fun though.
Yeah? You gonna drum in suit like Taebyn?
I actually do have a couple of videos on TikTok where I've done that before. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
Taven and
not only
I
is it a
gotta have
workout
a.
without a suit, but you put a suit on it, it doubles the workout.
Oh my god, I recorded a TikTok today, and it is nearing summer up here, so it was.
Yes.
I had to take a break. Like I had to go walk out by the AC after I was done recording.
So you say up there. Where is up there?
Up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Eastern Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in Oregon, so okay.
Hey,
Makes
perfect.
sense. What part of Eastern Washington? It's a big state, Washington is.
Yeah, over towards the Idaho area. I don't want to be
Okay.
too specific.
So way over east. Okay, that's
Way
cool.
over east, yeah.
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 We have a little thing about our hometown. We kind of talk, or people send us weird things about their hometown. Anything strange in your hometown?
Not that I can like think of off the top of my head, like other than we have really terrible drivers apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's all I can think of. I have a friend who is from the west side over in the Seattle area, and every time I ride with them, they complain constantly about the Eastern Washington drivers, and it's like, oh, I didn't know we were that bad at driving over here. Okay.
Okay. How are the Eastern Washington putters?
Uh-oh. I didn't
Those
get that reference.
that was a golf joke. Drivers, putters.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, you've heard our show, right? You know that
I have.
it's the bad jokes all the way around or stupid.
I have.
Yeah, okay.
There's been a couple of times because I listen to this when I'm at work, where I just like have to stop and just stare at the wall for a second. Like some of the puns, they just get me.
Why did he say it that way? Oh, okay. Yeah, and then of course every once in a while Taebyn goes way out on a limb trying to make a
Oh,
pun
yeah,
without success.
yeah.
So
Sometimes it's just like, oh no.
Jeez. So you mentioned you do TikTok. What's your TikTok handle?
It is the same as my YouTube. It's just Misha B Barkin. Um,
Okay. Simple
no
enough.
apostrophe, I don't think. On YouTube there is an apostrophe. On TikTok there isn't. On the end
Okay.
of Barkin.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird. It depends on whether or not the website allows me to put one.
Ah,
You know,
so officially does Barkin have an apostrophe?
it does.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
substitutes for the G, apparently.
it does.
Yes. So, a quick question, Misha, where did that name come from?
So weirdly enough, that came from a book called Milkweed that I read in middle school.
Okay.
And the main character in it, his name was Misha Pilsudski. And I was reading the book as a kid and I was like, I really like that name. And then I got involved with like the Pokemon, that whole community.
Uh-huh.
And so I made a Pokesona and he was Misha the Leafeon. And then eventually that kind of died down. You know, 1, 2, skip a few, and here we are. Misha is now a husky sheep.
1, 2, skip a few. Um, that's interesting. My stepson, when he was like 5, did that. He said, "I'm going to count to 100. 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100." And I was like,
There you go.
"Wow, is that?" I had never heard that before, and I had not heard it since until you just said that.
Oh,
So 30 years later, there we go.
oh man.
All comes around.
I just dated myself, didn't I?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you might have just heard it yesterday. Who knows? So, and for all our listeners, Misha is not my son. So
No,
just so we know that, throw
no.
that out there. We have a new section this season called "That's Just Stupid" because I surf the interwebs a lot and I find stupid things, and so I'm going to rattle these off. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
So a man in Strood, Kent, England, drove a Komatsu PC-14 digger, which is like a backhoe type thing. It's on two, you know, it's got the tracks on it that lets you get through the mud and stuff. Well, he drove that above 2 parallel ropes suspended 13 feet in the air on a tightrope. It's a little over 2 tons for this digger, and he runs a British theme park all about diggers called Diggerland. And he thought it would be kind of fun to drive this across a tightrope. I'm not sure why, but right? He's like, well, I could see him sitting there thinking, you know what would be fun? Let's drive this across 2 parallel tightropes. He said he was a bit worried.
Just a bit.
Just a bit worried that it would be like trying to get into a hammock where you get halfway in and it turns upside down. So if that happened, that would have been a real problem, he said. Duh. But he did all the engineering calculations beforehand, and sure enough, it paid off. Now, I have to ask you, let's go on to something else. Did you celebrate National Parchment Day on the June 29th?
I can't say I did.
Well, you sure really should. Next year, you'll have to get around to it, because on June 29th, it's National Parchment Day. Yep, another goofy holiday or national day. It promoted the use of parchment paper for cooking. It was also the same day that was National Waffle Iron Day. And I don't think you want to put parchment paper on your waffle iron.
I was
that
just
would start a
thinking
fire.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Really? We need days for these things? Why do we need days for these things? It's like
parchment paper.
National Waffle Iron Day. Oh, go get my waffle iron. It's a day. Hooray. All right.
Out the waffle iron.
Don't forget the waffle iron. So more stupid world records are being set because, it must be the thing to do in the summertime. A man in Utah walked over 3 miles balancing a guitar on his chin. That's right. I said balancing a guitar on his chin. He didn't say why he did it, but they broke the world record. I mean,
what else are you gonna do in Utah?
I guess go to the temple. And then in Mexico, there were 932 dancers in traditional garb danced the Mexican folk dance, and that broke the record of 800 traditional garbed Mexican dancers. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah. Folks in San Diego recently were convinced they were under attack by UFOs and aliens.
Okay.
Yeah. Turns out they were simply military flares being used in a training exercise. It was at night, and so they saw these flares in the sky, and they thought they were UFOs.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they, I mean, if you live near a military base, you're going to see weird stuff. That's a given.
Yeah.
You know? All right. This final one, since you have TikTok, maybe you should do this as well. There's a guy in the UK that's letting users on TikTok wake him up any way they choose. He's outfitted his bedroom with a bubble machine, lights, lasers, inflatables, speakers, and over 20 sound effects. Viewers can buy gifts on TikTok, which you probably know what that is, which correspond to devices in his room. Now, oddly enough, he's getting no sleep because those things go off 24/7 in his bedroom.
Yeah.
However, he's making over $40,000 American a month.
Ooh, okay. I'm listening.
TikTok, right?
I'm listening.
Right? 40 grand a month? That's insane.
I'm looking at the notes and I thought it said 40,000 a year, but no, that's a month.
That's a month. Yeah. And I thought the article was a year also, so I looked it up. It's like, nope, 40,000 a year, a month. I was like, holy crap. And that's my news of the stupid for this week.
All right.
I really think you should get into that TikTok.
You know what? 40,000. I might consider it. I think I've actually seen them come up on my For You page. I'll just be scrolling through and it'll the room is just dark and it's just a laser show and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And he's laying there with the pillow over his head. He's rolling around going, stop. But hey, for 40 grand a month, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know where he goes to sleep though. I mean, good Lord.
No.
In the article, he didn't say anything about how much sleep he's not getting, but I would have to think that he's just not getting any at all. But
no,
hard to say.
I don't know.
Hard to say. All right. Our next section is all about media. Now, normally Taebyn and I talk about what we've been watching, and so let's just chat with that. What have you been watching? I want to start with you. I'm going to just open you up for the chat right now.
I haven't been watching too many shows. I don't have cable and Netflix just jacked their prices, so that might be getting canceled. But
Oh no. Okay.
yeah. I'll oftentimes go to my friend Miles's place, and I've been watching My Hero Academia with them. I think we're on season 3 of that, and I'm not the biggest fan of anime, but I've actually been really enjoying that show. It's got really charming characters, so yeah.
And what is that show about?
It's about a kid named Deku. Oh man, this is testing my knowledge. It's about a kid named Deku who always has a dream of being a hero, and he lives in a world where everyone has what's called quirks, which is like inhuman abilities, like superpowers. But there's like a small percentage of people who aren't born with those powers, and he is one of those people, and he wants to be that person the most.
Okay.
But he runs into someone named All Might who is able to pass down his powers to him, and he's able to go to this school. So it's like learning how to become a superhero, and then they run into like very real threats throughout it. But
Okay.
yeah, trying to explain without spoilers, but yeah, it's a really good show, and I highly recommend it.
Awesome. And that's on what channel or streaming service? Or is it
Hulu, I think.
Hulu?
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Hulu.
Hulu. Who knew Hulu? All right.
Who knew Hulu?
Yep.
This was like back in November, December, but my at the time partner introduced me to Breaking Bad because I'd never seen it. That show from years ago. I enjoyed it for the first part. And then now I'm on like the middle of season 3, and it's gotten really dry. Like it's a struggle to get through episodes. So I haven't really watched it in a bit, and I don't know if or when I'll get back to it, but the first 2 seasons were really good. There was a moment in season 3 where it got really real there for a second.
Oh.
And I was like, whoa. I was like not in the best headspace at that time, and I was like, oh no, this
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Other than that, I started my annual Kitchen Nightmares binge again. Once a year, I just like,
okay.
Yeah, once a year, my brain is like, you gotta watch Gordon Ramsay, man. It's so good. I don't know what it is, but watching Gordon Ramsay yell at random people somehow brings me peace,
Yeah, I guess. He was on a show a while back. Was it Master Chef Junior, which was all the kids?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he really had to curb his language and stuff there. I remember reading articles about
that. And then last but not least, my boyfriend has been hosting movie nights on his Discord server. So
okay.
Yeah, we've been watching Disney movies every other week. Last week was The Princess and the Frog, a Goofy movie, and Lilo and Stitch. And I'd never actually seen a Goofy movie.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of Goofy movies, but not one about Goofy.
Not a Goofy movie. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It was a good one.
All right. And remember, folks, don't piss off the mouse, because if you stream shows without permission, you get in trouble. So we're going to assume that your boyfriend got permission from Disney to stream these on Discord.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the correct answer. That is the correct answer. Yes.
Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, no.
Oh, no. I mean, speaking of piss... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I remember what I was going to say. So, Misha B. Barkin, right?
Right.
The B. Barkin portion.
Right.
My roommate was like, oh, they just said B. Barkin, and we thought it was from a children's book. So eventually Misha B. Barkin came to be. It's Charlie B. Barkin from All Dogs Go to Heaven. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about that crossover. But it's been in the back of my mind.
You're just his younger brother. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
of course. Yeah.
Well, and All Dogs Go to Heaven's not a Disney movie anyway. That's a Bluth movie or something like that before.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was Disney this whole time.
No, I think All Dogs Go to Heaven is a Don Bluth movie, but now I'm gonna have to make a note, and we'll research that out, and we'll talk about it next week. But you won't be here, so you'll have to listen in and find out. Yeah, All Dogs. Okay, Heaven. I'm making notes. All Dogs and Heaven. There we go. Okay. Have you watched anything else?
That's been pretty much it for me.
All right. For someone that doesn't watch much stuff, that was a lot of stuff.
You know, I I tend to ramble.
That's fine. That's fine. So I have caught up on the latest season of The Boys on Amazon Prime. Have you seen that
Oh,
show?
I have seen 2 episodes, and man, it is not my type of show.
Wow, it is very, 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 3 varies, violent. It's a
Mhm.
superhero show if folks haven't listened to it or seen it. And if you haven't watched it, well, it's really good, but OMFNC is it dark. I mean, let's get onto it. A lot of the storyline is these are made superheroes by a compound that a specific company made and creates superheroes. But they are super flawed. I mean, think of some of the worst
Mm.
people in the world and then give them superpowers.
That's basically it too.
That is the show The Boys. Now, it's based on a comic book, and the comic book was from the early 2000s, so it's been around a while, the
Oh.
storyline, but this was the first time they actually made it, and it's I gotta tell you, this current season, I think the producers thought the only way to kill people and kill enemies in this show is to blow them up.
Oh.
So, you have
Yeah.
heads exploding and people exploding, and
Oh,
that's like
good.
it's the only way they kill them, or slicing them in half with lasers. There's that.
Just
And
just usual stuff. Yeah, yeah.
interestingly enough, though, this latest season, the main character's name is Homelander, and he was on a talk show, and it was like listening to our former redheaded president talking
Okay.
about mainstream media and how they're out to get
Oh.
him and fake news and all this stuff. And I looked at my husband and I said, I'm watching Donald. This is incredible. And then the next day there was an article about all the right-wing wackos complaining because this was more like Donald Trump and they shouldn't be doing that, and it's just evil and terrible, and they shouldn't make fun of political figures,
Oh my god.
I'm thinking to myself, have you watched the other seasons, because this guy's an ass.
Yeah.
So it's nuts. I also started watching the Orville series, the new series Orville New Horizons, which is a
Okay.
Seth MacFarlane space show, paying homage to Star Trek. It's like Star Trek, but it's Seth MacFarlane and kind of more lighthearted. However, this season is a little more serious. I think it was on Fox to start the first 2 seasons, and they wanted to creative control over it, and he told them to go take a flying leap.
Oh, okay.
So Hulu picked it up and gave him an outlandish budget. And you can tell in the very
Oh.
first episode of this new season that he has a very large budget, because the I think he blew his entire budget on that first episode. It's amazing, but and it's a good show. It's a good show. If you haven't watched it,
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Okay.
And that is what I've been watching. I'm going to take a sip of whiskey.
All right. The podcast juice.
Podcast juice fluid. There you go. Speaking of podcast fluid and juices, as we talked about the astonishingly drunk earlier, last weekend was the 4th of July, and I run a large fireworks crew to shoot a big fireworks show in Seaside, Oregon. And I gave all my crew members Broad tablets before we started to help them stay hydrated throughout the day. I have to say they worked wonders. Nobody got dehydrated. Nobody got headaches for being dehydrated or being out in the weather all day. Broad is not just for pre-alcoholic imbibing. It also helps you keep your hydration during hard physical labor, and like setting up a big fireworks show. 2 tablets with any beverage before activity keeps you hydrated and your electrolytes up. And listeners to this podcast can get 25% off their entire order by entering the code BFFT at checkout through the end of July. So go to broad.co and get hydrated. The requisite mid-roll advertisement.
Yeah.
There
no,
we go.
No, I get you. No, you're good.
There you go. And this offer is only good through the end of July, so hurry up because the promotion ends at the end of July 2022. So, Misha,
So barely.
would you like to play a little this or that with me?
I would love to play some this or that.
All right. I got this book called 3001 This or That Question. Somebody actually
I
wrote
get to see the
3001. I was like, wow, that's incredible. So we're on number 115. So we have lots of book left
Got
to go.
A lot of episodes.
All right. So there's no right or wrong answer to these, and
Okay.
you don't have to think deeply about them. You just have to answer.
All right.
So, would you rather be with someone who is afraid to lose you, or someone that you're afraid to lose?
Oh, see, you just said don't think deeply about that one, but that feels like a pretty deep question.
I guess so. Yeah. So.
I guess, someone that I would be afraid to lose, because then I'll take all the steps I can to make sure everything works. I guess. I don't know. That's starting off strong.
Well, it doesn't get any better because the second one. Are you ready?
Okay.
I haven't read these ahead of time. So, would you rather live forever and watch all of your loved ones and friends die, or die first so you don't have to see anyone else die?
Ooh. I'm dying first.
You're dying first.
Get
Okay.
me out of here.
Fair
No,
enough.
I'm
Fair
kidding.
enough.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Oh, this is a very strange one. Would you rather live forever with really bad breath,
Oh.
or live only 70 years but with sweet smelling breath? I don't know. This is very strange.
Wow. That's a very strange page. I guess with the really bad breath. Well, okay. So 70 years is a long time. Like, I think I would go with the sweet breath, because it doesn't say you die at the end of the 70 years. So I would probably just go with the sweet breath.
Well, it does say live only 70 years, so the assumption is
Oh.
that you die at the end.
Oh, okay.
And then all the bad breath just oozes out, I guess. I don't know.
It's just like a purple mist after you die.
Purple mist breath.
I think I'm gonna stick with my answer.
All right. Oh, I wanted to back up to the beginning. I when I was doing the hellos, I said the word "hallay." Have you been listening to the podcast and know what that's all about?
I have been listening to the podcast, but apparently I missed that episode because I don't know what that's about.
Oh, so we were at BLFC. Did you go to BLFC?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So we were there, and we had there was another podcast group that was doing a panel, and we walked in and we said hello, and the host was trying to say hello and hooray, and he said hallay, and so now that became canon, and we had him on the show. Our new spotlight on that was him.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Would you rather be with someone who is extra pessimistic or extra optimistic? Or extra optimistic? Wow, 3 sips of whiskey and I can't talk.
Another astonishingly drunk episode. Yeah.
Good God, no! Never again. Never again. That's a one-off for the rest of my life.
I would probably say someone who is really optimistic, because I'm actually kind of pessimistic. So to have someone there to I know. To have someone there to keep me in check,
Okay.
I think that would be a good balance.
It would be. It's always nice to have an optimist and a pessimist in the same relationship. But then of course you never get anything done.
No.
Because, Ooh.
Ooh.
Are you churchgoer?
Was
Was?
not anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you a failed Catholic like me?
I think just a failed Christian in general. Yeah.
Just a failed Christian? Well, I used to tell people I don't practice Catholicism anymore because I've got it down pat. I don't need to practice. So would you rather go to church for 7 hours for one day or 1 hour for 7 days?
Oh. I'd probably just get it out of the way. Do the 7 hours.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Interesting story about. Well, I'm going to segue away from this right now because I have an altar boy story,
Okay.
and it's not everybody that just went what? And it's like, no, it's not that.
It's not that story.
It's not that story. That never happened to me, unfortunately. Well,
Whoa.
I almost. Wow.
Whoa.
Whoa. That never happened to me, fortunately, but I have joked about the fact that I kind of wish it did because I could use the money. But and for those of you that don't know what happened there, just go with the flow. Just keep on going past this section.
Keep going. Yep.
So I grew up in New Jersey in a very, very Catholic family, in a big, huge Catholic school, Catholic church. And when you get to the 5th grade, you get to be an altar boy if you so desire. And there's a training program and all other kind of stuff. You have to learn how to ring the bells properly and pour the water in the wine, et cetera, et cetera. And the church was so big that they literally had, I don't know if you're familiar with the Catholics or not, but a Catholic mass takes about 35 to 45 minutes from start to finish. And this church and the congregation was so big that they had 4 altars and 4 places to hold church services every Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And they started masses at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the last mass started at 11:45. So every 15 minutes from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11:45, there was a new mass starting. It's crazy. So you can think about how many altar boys it takes and priests. I mean, they had 8 priests, and so they were constantly, rotating from one to the other to the other to the other.
Feels like
and
feels like the setup to a really bad joke. Like, how many altar boys does it take to hold a Catholic mass?
Well, in my church, it only took 2, and there was only the 11:45 mass was what they called the high mass. And that takes on a whole new meaning today when you say high mass, because
it really
that just
does.
means that everybody was high. But the high mass always had like 10 altar boys, and there was a procession and there was incense and all that other happy crap. The rest of the masses were just like in and out, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Here you
Yay,
go.
Jesus.
Yeah. But as you got older in the altar boy world, you got to pick and choose which masses you wanted, and then you would just kind of hang out there. Now that was on Sundays. Now on Saturdays was weddings and funerals that took place.
Okay.
And as an altar boy, you could make pretty good bank serving at masses that were weddings and funerals, especially if they happened to be for a certain Italian group that was very prevalent in New York City and New Jersey. Think Sopranos, right?
Okay.
So you could do a funeral, and they would come back after the funeral. Guido with his slicked up back hair, he says, "Thank you, boys, for serving. It was great." He gives you a little handshake, and in the handshake was $100 bill, and he would pay all of us $100. And you could literally, and they were like back to back to back to back. There were Saturdays when I was a 7th grader that I would clear $600, $700 serving at mafia funerals. And of course my mom was like, "Where do you get all that money from?" It's like, hey, they just give it to us for serving masses. So
it's just a tip. Yeah.
It's a tip. It's a tip. And I'm going to age myself now, but in 1975, $100 was a lot of money.
Yeah. I I have a like not a similar story, but my friend, one of my friends in high school was Mormon.
Okay.
And so I got asked to play flute for their Christmas thing. So I went and did that, and I don't want to sound rude, but it was like the worst 2 hours of my life.
Okay.
It was just so it was so boring. It was because they had me sit on like on their altar, I think is what it's called. They had me sit up
Yes.
there the entire service.
Okay.
And I got up, played the like 3 minute piece while people sang, you know, hallelujah, every kumbaya. And then I sat back down on the stage and I had to sit up there the entire time. The biggest like weirdest thing was when I got done with the song, nobody clapped. It wasn't like I played it really bad. That's just how it works. Is
Right.
like
There's no clapping in church.
nobody made a sound. And I'm not used to that. So I was like, okay,
Did I do it right?
I'll
Did I
just
do it?
sit back. Yeah, I guess I'll just sit back down. And then it was like afterwards, everybody was like, "Oh, good job," da-da-da. And it's like, I just kind of want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah. So we really fared stray off the tracks there for a minute, but
It did.
um,
Little off the rails.
we got two more.
Oh,
okay. Would you not be able to taste sweet or be only able to taste salt?
Oh, I would probably I have a really bad sweet tooth, but only like once a month. So I guess I could give that up.
Okay. All right. So you only taste salt. Blech. Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on.
I wasn't asking if you give it up. You either not taste sweet or only taste salt.
Oh. So I would not taste sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. There we go.
There you go. All right. Here's a simple one. Would you rather have free coffee or free movies?
Ooh, free coffee.
Oh. Okay.
My coffee budget is high.
Oh. How's your high budget?
Coffee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah. Is the devil's lettuce legal up in Washington? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was one of the first states. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I joked years ago when they first made it legal, and they made it legal in Colorado. Those were the first two states, and then those are the first that same year. The two teams in the Super Bowl were from Colorado and Seattle. It's like, wow,
I remember that. Yeah,
weed must be good for football players.
Perfect.
Got them to the Super Bowl. All right, now. All right, so now we jump to furries in the news. Now, normally Taebyn would do his little furries in the news thing. I'm not going to make you do that, though.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I haven't rehearsed.
You haven't rehearsed? You haven't rehearsed his first. I mean, he doesn't rehearse it either, and sometimes he just loses it and loses control. Really okay. Furries in the news. Australian scientists discovered a furry crab species that, get this, wears a sponge as a hat. And
that's adorable.
It's adorable. There's a picture of it. I'll post it on the YouTube channel so folks can see it. And it's an unknown. It was an unknown species, undiscovered species of crab, and it was found out washed up on a beach in Western Australia. And it tailors sponges. It actually cuts the sponge in a certain way so that it fits properly on their carapace, the back part of the crab. And it's a fluffy body. They're very furry and they're very soft. Apparently, when scientists touched them, they were surprised at how soft they were. So now I'm waiting to see a furry crab with a sponge on its head at a next FurCon.
Someone's persona, yeah.
Someone's persona, right? It's quite soft and fluffy, and it functions. Why the sponge is on their head? They can only guess. They haven't observed it in the wild, so they're not sure why it puts this on its head. But it's not the first crab they've discovered that does this. There's other crabs that do it apparently as well. And the sponge then grows over there. It's got to be a camouflage thing, I would only think. Mm-hmm. It's got to be. I mean,
that would make sense.
I'm not a scientist or a botanist or a biologist, so I don't know. So Botany Bay. Okay, anybody that knows that reference, get a hold of me. Um, the name is called the Lamarckdromia beagle crab, and it was named for Charles Darwin's famous sea vessel, the Beagle. Oh,
Oh.
nice. Yeah, it's like, who knows? Who knew? And the warm and fuzzy corners of Twitter were only too happy to learn of the cuddly appearance of L. Beagle, as it is known on the Twitterverse. And they share pictures of it, and there has been a lot of fan-inspired art recently
Oh
of
my
the furry
gosh.
crab with a sponge. And I'm just thinking of SpongeBob SquarePants, sponge hat crab pants. I don't know.
Sponge hat crab fluff.
Crab fluff. Yes. Sponge hat crab fluff. Come on in. Yes. Oh, well. That is the only furries in the news. Do you have any furries in the news? Do you know anything that's going on newsworthy with our furry friends?
I don't. I've seen okay, I guess edit this out. So can I talk about Anthro Northwest since that's going on this weekend? I'm
Sure.
not at it, but like, okay, so
You're not at it. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not at it, yeah. Well,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. But talk about it
I
in the
guess
past.
okay, yeah. The only thing I saw was it was the weekend of Anthro Northwest, and I saw a bunch of like non-furries posting on Twitter being like, what is happening? Like I'm just trying to work my 9 to 5 and there's a bunch of people in animal costumes, and it's been really funny because it's one of the bigger cons. So there's a lot more people and a lot more people are
Oh, yeah.
seeing these furries. So just to see random people go on Twitter and be like, what is happening? It's just been really funny to watch.
Which is really funny because it hasn't been there for the last 3 years. I guess you have a whole new group of people that
Oh
work in
yeah.
downtown Pittsburgh, and they're like, "What's going on?" But I mean, that's been a huge con for years.
Yeah.
Huge. And
Yeah.
in fact, they shut down, they have an actual parade through downtown Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's huge. Yeah. When we had Dr. Uncle Kage on the show way back when in season 1, he was talking about how they literally have a 3-mile, they shut down the street and it's an actual parade instead of just a fursuit parade. But I mean,
Wow.
there's marching bands and all sorts of crap that come and do that stuff.
Oh
So
jeez.
yeah, it's a big event.
That's that's unreal.
So,
I wow. I didn't know it
right?
was that big. I wonder how
yeah,
much like
it's huge.
I wonder how much that like costs or like how they go about doing that.
Oh, anybody can have a parade. You just have to get a permit. It doesn't cost anything.
Oh, but they like have to shut down the streets though.
Yeah, but
Oh.
that's the room taxes and things like that pay for that kind of stuff. The city taxes
Oh,
that,
that's
yeah, I mean, all that pays for that stuff. And
oh,
they've
okay.
got extra police and fire and stuff on hand anyway because, well, furries,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when you get 40,000 furries in a city, things are going to go crazy.
Yup.
I think that's one of the biggest cons in the world.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was Anthrocon and not Northwest. It wasn't BLFC, was it?
BLFC is big.
Okay.
Anthro Weekend in Atlanta is big.
I think that's the one I was thinking of because
Yeah.
I did a video where I had to look up the bigger cons, and it was Anthrocon and a different one that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
So, yep, they're huge. Which then, of course, that's a great segue into upcoming events that are coming on this summer. Summer's
Heyo.
huge for upcoming events. Now, I want to talk first of all because there's a local new event coming up in Seaside, Oregon, in October. That's way out in the future, but it's the weekend of October 27th through the 30th, and it should be an interesting event / con. It started out as a just a furry one-day event, and now
Okay.
the organizer has said he accidentally created a con because now it's 3 days. It's the 27, 28, 29, or 27, 28, 29, 30. It's 4 days. 4 days.
Oh.
And it's at Seaside, Oregon, and it's called Get Out the Float. Why he named it that, I don't know. I didn't ask
Okay.
him that question, but like pool floaties,
Oh, I thought it was like took place like on a boat or
like a
something.
parade or on a boat. Sure, why
Oh
not?
yeah.
Yeah. But it takes place at the Seaside Convention Center, which doesn't have a hotel attached. So there's some logistics
Oh.
there. The Con Hotel is like 2 blocks away. So if it's rainy, that could be an issue.
Oh
But
yeah.
but the fact of the matter is, it's a great little event. We plan to be there. They've got as of this morning's the June 29th when we're recording this, or June 30th when we're recording this, they have 8 registrants.
Woo.
8. 4 of those are me, Taebyn, Rain, and his husband. So
The crew, the barely Furcasting crew.
the barely Furcasting crew are 4 of the 8 registrants. So, but they're going to have some interesting things. He's got a science theme to this. So
Oh.
he's going to have scientists there talking and doing experiments and things like that. So it should be kind of fun.
Yeah.
If you have a chance to get down to Seaside, Oregon, we'll have the registration on our webpage, and you can getouthefloat.com/registration. It's not expensive. I think they're like $30 or $40 to register for the con. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
not too bad. And then the hotel is not a bad price either. So there you go. Now, more current coming up the following or this next weekend, the 14th through the 17th, are all of these cons are taking place the exact same weekend. You have Kineticon in Hartford, Connecticut. You have Furry in Alberta, Canada. Yeah. You've got
Hooray.
Anthro Weekend Utah in Utah, Layton. Now, if you can't get to either or those, then you can get to Brazil Fur Fest in Santos, São Paulo, Brazil. I'd like to go to that. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, in Dallas, Texas, you have Furry Siesta. I've heard good things about that.
I also have. I heard it's like a sister con to Furry Fiesta.
It is.
I think it's run by like the same or similar people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yep. If you can't make it to Brazil, Utah, Canada, Connecticut, you can or Dallas, you can head to Norway if you want.
Oh.
And go to Furway, and that's in. I'm gonna mess up
Good
this
luck.
town.
Good luck.
Yeah, Eastjernhytten Brandu, Norway. There we go. It's about the best I can do.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, oh boy, good luck.
Yeah, and then if you can't be in Norway, you can get to the Netherlands. In Groesbeek, Netherlands, is the Dutch FurCon.
All right.
So there you go.
It's a busy weekend for furries.
It is a busy weekend for furries, and it would be great if you could make all of them at the same time because wowzers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine flying from Connecticut to Canada to
Oh my
Utah to
God.
Brazil to Texas? No, you know what I would do? I would go Connecticut, Canada.
Oh.
Then I would do Utah, then Texas, then Brazil, then zip on over to the Netherlands, and then Norway.
God, it's 7 cons within like 4 to 5 days. So you can't even like spend a full day at one. You would have to be there for like 20 minutes and just be like, all right, gotta go.
Hi, gotta go.
Furry
Gotta catch a
Siesta's
flight.
calling my name.
Jeez. Yeah, that'd be insane. You know what? There's probably somebody that does that though.
Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous how many cons some of these furries go to. Like I can't imagine. They're like, I just got home from this con. I'll see you at this con this upcoming week. It's like,
right?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Afford that?
Afford it, and how do you get the time off from work unless you're
right
independently wealthy and don't have a job? It's the only thing I can think of.
Or you make 40,000 a month on
a
TikTok.
month because people wake you up. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Jesus. Oh my cow. Oh, I meant to mute that. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Normally Taebyn would tell a story. He's not here to tell a story. So have you heard of Grimm's fairy tales?
I think you've read it on the podcast before.
Right. So The brothers Grimm wrote these fairy tales back in the what year did they write these? Many decades or centuries ago. I want to say 16th century, 17th century, but
Okay.
they all are supposed to be stories that give you reasons to understand life in general. And a lot of them are
Okay.
dark, very dark. And a lot of them are all what Disney has Disneyfied. So
Oh.
if you ever read the Grimm's fairy tales and read Snow White or Rumpelstiltskin or the Seven Dwarves, they're not the friendly Disney thing that everybody else is.
No, I
Yeah.
know about Snow White.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
They have been quite Disneyfied.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this story is called The Three Feathers. Now I'm not sure what the moral of the story is supposed to be, but let's read the story and maybe the two of us can come up with what this is supposed to mean.
All right.
There was once upon a time a king who had three sons, of whom two were very clever and wise, but the third did not talk much and was simple and was called the doofer. Okay.
Okay.
When the king had become old and weak and began to think of his end, he did not know which of his three sons ought to inherit the kingdom after him. So he said to them, "Go forth. Don't go third or fifth, but go forth.
Go forth, of course.
And he who brings me the most beautiful carpet shall be king after my death." Okay. And that there shall be no dispute among them. He took them outside his castle, blew three feathers in the air, and said, "You shall go as they fly." One feather flew to the east, the other to the west, but the third flew straight up and did not fly far at all, but soon fell to the ground. So one brother went to the right, the other to the left, mocking at the doofer, who was forced to stay where the third feather had fallen. Aw, poor little doofer.
Oh.
He sat down feeling very sad, and when all at once he saw that there was a trap door in the ground close by the feather. Because,
Convenient.
how convenient, yes. He lifted it up and found some steps, which he went down. Then he came to a door and knocked at it and heard somebody inside call out, "Little green maiden, hop, hop about, hop to the door and see who's without." I don't know why I did it that way, but it just seemed like it was important to say it that way.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah. The door opened, and there he saw a great fat toad sitting, surrounded by a crowd of little toads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not what I was expecting. All right.
Right. The fat toad asked what he wanted, and he answered, "I should like to have the prettiest and finest carpet in the world." Then she called one of the little ones and said, "Little green maiden, hopping all about, hop quick and get me the great box out." I don't know why I did it that way again, but it was important. The young toad brought the box, and the fat toad opened it. Wow, fat toads. And gave the doofers a carpet, so beautiful and so fine that on the earth above none would have been woven like it. Then he thanked her and climbed the stairs again. The two others, however, had looked on their youngest brother as so stupid that they never believed he would find or bring anything at all. "Why should we give ourselves a great deal of trouble searching about?" they said, and they got some coarse kerchiefs from the first shepherds' wives they met, and carried them home to the king. At the same time, also, the doofer came back and brought his beautiful carpet. And when the king saw it, he was astonished and said, "If justice be done, the kingdom must belong to the youngest." But the two brothers let their father have no peace, saying that it was impossible that the doofer, who lacked understanding in anything, should be king, and entreating him to make another trial. "Then," said the father, "he who brings me the most beautiful ring shall inherit the kingdom," and led the three brothers outside and blew it into the air once again, the three feathers that they were to follow. Those of the two eldest went again east and west, and the doofer's feather, of course, flew straight up and fell down again to the fat toad. I don't know why I said it that automatically. I guess the toad was sitting outside. He went to the fat toad and told her that he wanted the most beautiful ring. She at once ordered her great box to be brought, and gave him a ring out of it, which sparkled with jewels, and was so beautiful that no goldsmith on the earth would have been able to make it. The two eldest laughed at the idea of the doofer seeking a golden ring, so they gave themselves no trouble, but picked up old harness rings and took it to the king. They should have learned their lesson the first
I
time, I
was
think.
just thinking that. I was like, he showed you up once. I feel like you should put a little more effort
A,
in this time.
a little more effort, yes. It's like. So they gave themselves no trouble, picked up the harness rings. But when the doofer produced his golden ring, his father again said, "The kingdom belongs to him." The two eldest brothers did not cease from tormenting the king until he made a third condition and declared that the one who brought the most beautiful woman home who start again. The two eldest did not cease from tormenting the king until he made a third condition and declared that the one who brought the most beautiful woman home should have the kingdom. Why is it always based on a woman? Why not the most beautiful man? Anyway.
I don't know.
I don't know. Again, he blew. Well, I guess in the 16th century, having a boyfriend was probably bad. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Think about the French king back. Anyway, and I digress. Whew, okay. Where am I at? The kingdom belongs to the two eldest did not cease from tormenting the king. Blah 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 blah. He again blew the three feathers into the air, and guess what?
Same spots.
Same spots. Yep. The doofer, without more ado, went down to the fat toad and said, "I am to take home the most beautiful woman." "Oh," answered the toad, "the most beautiful woman. She is not at hand at the moment, but you still should have her." She gave him a yellow turnip, okay,
Okay.
that had been hollowed out, to which 6 mice were harnessed. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Sounds interesting. Sounds very
Yeah.
similar. Then the doofer said quite mournfully, "What am I to do with that?" The toad answered, "Just put one of my little toads into it." Oh, okay. Then he seized one at random, seized the toad, and out of the circle, and put her into the yellow coach. But hardly was she seated inside, than she turned into the most beautiful maiden, and the turnip into a coach, and the 6 mice into horses. Again, I'm seeing a similarity here to another story.
Okay. I caught on, yep.
Yep. So he kissed her and drove off quickly back home to the king. His brothers came in soon afterwards. They had given themselves no trouble at all to seek beautiful girls, but
Once
had
again.
brought, again, they put no effort.
Yeah.
They brought the first peasant woman that they chanced to meet. Of course they did. Why would they, you'd think they'd learn after the second
Right?
time, right? It's like,
Fool me once.
fool me once, fool me twice. There's a song like that from, anyway. After the death of my kingdom, when the king saw them, he said, "After the death of my kingdom, the kingdom shall belong to my youngest son." But the two eldest deafened the king afresh with their clamor. I like that word, afresh with their clamor. I'm deafening you with clamor. We cannot consent to the doofer being king, and demanded that the one whose wife would leap through a hoop which hung in the center of the hall should have the preference. Why are these two such assholes? Our peasant woman can do that easily. They are strong enough. But this delicate maiden will kill herself in the attempt. The aged king agreed to this plan too. Well, he's such a moron, I guess.
Yeah.
Then the two peasant women jumped through the hoop, but were so stout and heavy that they fell and broke their arms and legs. Oh, okay.
Oops.
And then the pretty maiden, whom the doofer had brought with him, took her turn and skipped through the hoop as lightly as a deer. And then there was no more to be said. So the doofer received the crown and has ruled wisely and well for many long years. Interesting.
Okay. That's the end of it?
That's the end. Yes.
Okay.
So what do we think the moral of that story is?
I was just about to say, I don't know if I could see a moral in that either. I was expecting, like, oh, if you put effort into things, you'll succeed in life, or like, oh, don't underestimate, you know, someone who may not be as wise, or like the younger one. But I don't.
Yeah.
That was just all over the place. I don't even know.
I know some of these Grimm's fairy tales are just so off the wall. I mean, way back when there's a story about a piece of straw, a bean, and a bird.
Sure,
Sure. Okay.
if you say so.
Yes. I mean, you'll have to go back and listen. I think it's in episode or season 1, somewhere in there. The straw, the bean, and the bird. I'm like, okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Anyway, that kind of brings us to the end of our show. On that happy note, where
Yeah.
the doofer gets the kingdom, I think we should bring this to a close. I had a great time with you today. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's great having you on the show. I hope you come back again. You should come on as a guest sit-in, if you will, with Taebyn and I. Just kind of hang out for the whole show. That'd be kind of
Oh,
fun. Yeah,
yeah. I'd definitely be interested in doing that.
yeah. So before we go, is there anything you want to plug or promote about your various projects?
Sure thing. So again, my name is Misha B. Barkin. And you can find me making videos about the furry community on YouTube. I go into detail about different things that are happening, different cons sometimes. Sometimes furry drama, but I don't like talking about that. And I actually talked about the Starbucks thing recently.
Oh, yes.
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're
that's
trying to get
once
him on
again-
the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his schedule is very tough, so we're trying to get him on the show. Yeah.
But yeah, so my name on there is Misha B. Barkin. And like I said, I also make TikToks on, TikTok.
Yes.
And those are more short comedy skits, not as serious or like structured as my YouTube videos. So if that sounds up your alley, then check out my content on there. Once again, it is Misha B. Barkin.
Awesome. Now, up where you are, it's still June when we're recording this. Is there Pride events going on up there?
Yeah, I actually went to a Pride event in the beginning of June, and I got to suit as my other Sona Rascal. And then, yeah, I got to walk in the Pride Parade with my union, actually. So that was cool.
Oh, very cool.
It was like overcast for the first half of the day, and
Uh-huh.
then the sun came out as soon as the parade started, and I was cooking. I was well done.
I went to the Portland Pride a couple weeks ago. It was fun, but it was rainy and the whole event area was all muddy, and I mean, it was terrible walking through the mud. I kept waiting for lesbian mud wrestling to happen, but it never did.
Well,
yeah.
what can you do?
What can you do? So, listeners, be sure to tune in next week when Taebyn will be back and will tell us all about his wonderful vacation at his magical happy place. That's where he likes to go on vacation. That's what he calls it, magical happy place.
Magical happy place.
Yes. Be sure to go to brode.co. There is no M. That's BRODE.co for a great deal on super electric vitamins, and use the code BFFT at checkout to get 25% off your entire order. This offer only lasts through the end of July, so hurry before time runs out. Misha, thanks for being on the show. It's been wonderful having you. All you listeners out there, Moobarkfluff, stay furry.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerve studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms, or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded and directed by Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by Barely and our associate editor Rain Raccoon. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by Reg Day with Damian Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Reg Day, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp, or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com, Gator Tots on soundcloud.com, and the YouTube Free is library. Social media presences is maintained by Ziggy the Mean Weasel. Transformation Station is written and directed by Lux Operon with Rain Raccoon, and is edited by Rain Raccoon. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com, or on our Telegram chat at BFFT Chat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.